Hello everyone, it's Mr. Wolf here. In this video, I'm going to be going over planning investigations, specifically the success criteria of determining controls and constants in an experiment. So let's, just for some context, go back to the question, what effect does fatigue, my independent variable, have on free throw shooting, my dependent variable? All right, well, in any experiment, we need to have some control or comparison group. This is the group that does not receive the treatment. In other words, it does not have the independent variable in it. So why would we want to do that? All right, this allows us to compare two or multiple groups to see if there's some difference. All right, so I'm going to skip ahead really quickly. All right, and let's just look at an example. All right, in this case, does fatigue affect free throws? My control group would be shooting free throws without running beforehand. All right, you might be thinking, well, wait, aren't we trying to see how being exhausted affects free throws? Why don't we just go and test that? Well, let's just say that I run my 2 miles, I shoot free throws, and then I shoot 80%. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that the same? Well, I don't know unless I compare it to how you normally shoot free throws before running. So that's why we want to have that group where we run before as a comparison group. All right. So again, it allows us to compare two or multiple groups to see if there's a difference. If there is a difference, well, we have a cause and effect relationship. And if there's not a difference, well, then we know that there's no effect. And that can be just as important in an experiment too, is finding that there is no effect between two variables. All right. Now, sometimes you may not have a control group, but you will still have at least two groups to compare between. A great example is comparing sexes, male and female. Let's say I'm questioning whether cardiovascular disease is more prevalent in one-sex males or another sex females, right? There's no group that's not really getting a treatment there, but I'm still able to compare between males and females. So even though there's not a technical standard control group, it still has the same effect. I can still compare the two groups. All right. So then I also have constants in an experiment, right? They sound similar because they both start with the C, control and constants, but they are completely different. Constants are the conditions that you keep the same in an experiment. All right. So why would you want to do this? This allows us to know that only the independent variable is responsible for the change in the dependent variable. All right. So let's say, for instance, that I have my control group, right? I'm at rest. I shoot my 50 free throws, and then I go on I run 2 miles. But then in my control, let's say I'm at rest, I'm shooting my free throws, but I'm shooting at the sports center at Stevenson in the gym. And then I run 2 miles, but wherever I run to, it's actually, I'm ended at the park now. So I'm exhausted, I'm shooting my free throws, and let's say I shoot way worse than I did before. All right. Well, was it because I was exhausted? Or was it because I was now at a different place, at an outdoor hoop? Right, where the rims are usually a little bit more bouncier, and maybe there was wind blowing, that could have affected it as well. So I don't really know if it was the exhaustion or if it were these other environmental factors that caused this difference in free throw percentage. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that everything between the two conditions is the same except for, right, being at rest and being fatigued, running beforehand. So between those two groups, should be the same person shooting. So in this case, me, right? The same basketball hoop, all right? And then the same time, maybe in between free throws as well. I could come up with dozens of more constants. These are just a few examples, all right? So thank you all for watching this video on determining your controls and constants in an experiment.